Quantum's Movie Reviews. This is Altered Carbon, which is a Netflix original series that consists of 10 episodes and takes place in a cyberpunk type world. It follows one individual as he's in a gunfight and then ends up waking up in an entirely new body. But this concept is not strange in this world in this time because everybody is just in a sleeve. So sleeve is just your skin, and you basically just shed it because everybody has a disc in the back of their head, and that basically determines who you are. That is your identity. That is you as a person, your consciousness. And you just kind of shove that into a new sleeve and you keep going. So there's a lot of interesting concepts kind of pushed here because it is, far future Earth. There's like mega rich people, and then you kind of get that kind of look at the high class life in the future. Not as much as the lower class, but you do get to see the extravagant and rich individuals in the society, which is rather interesting. So the whole point of him coming back basically out of like Alcatraz, because he's been put in jail for his treason and crimes against, whatever the society was at the time, he's been brought back in order to solve a murder of a very wealthy individual. So if your actual stack is what they're called, the discs, get shot out, you actually die, but some of the super rich have backups up in the clouds. So basically, this guy's dead. They only record him back up every 48 hours or so. So basically he doesn't know what happened, who killed him, and so he brought back this ancient warrior type of individual. That's the lead character. And you get to kind of see his background as well developed throughout the series, so you get an idea of who he is and why certain parts develop. There's some like plot twists and everything along the way, which was really exciting and interesting. I particularly love the cyberpunk setting. So to me, this was something really well done. And I was particularly amazed at the cinematography and the quality of the CGI, making a very realistic world. And it definitely seems like there was a lot of care and budget put into making this seem like a lively environment. A lot of the set pieces, while familiar at times when you're going through it, are actually fairly vast in scale. So you get a huge wide look at this futuristic city and kind of the wealthy rich that inhabit it, as well as getting a lower kind of far look at the whole cityscape. This, like, again, going back to the cinematography, the shots, it was just all so beautiful, very well crafted in that regard, and every shot was just fantastic to look at. It was kind of stunning actually visually, and I was very impressed with that. You actually get like a sense of augmented people to some degree, and I thought that was very interesting and well done. So going back to the actual story elements, again, there's the murder. He's been brought out of ICE to go and deal with this and kind of figure it out. So you're kind of watching a private detective type procedural here, but it is very much a focused story that takes place over the 10 episodes and kind of unravels. And again, with the plot twists and surprises along the way that make it very interesting. There's definitely a connection, sort of family, and that element of immortality, considering people are living hundreds of years. And the idea that you would get corrupt or you would change over this time and not be who you originally were, even if you were a good person. Everybody becomes bad over time. That's just one of the themes. There's lots of violence, greatly well done. Some of the fight scenes, very cool. Nice mix of like futuristic combat and kind of classic stuff. It's a very adult-themed series, so there's tons of nudity here. Seriously, just like a lot of it. Just so you know, I personally don't care. I feel that it actually enhances the art to some degree. But in the sense of it, yeah, there was a lot of themes of that, which kind of makes sense when people don't really care for the skin that they wear. They're just kind of like a body that you would adapt and live in for a set amount of time, and you just get a new one eventually if you had enough money, or you'd get whatever was available at the time, because they do a lot of that, and kind of like mix matching with bodies, so kind of funny, kind of, whatever. I like the cast. I thought there was a really good balance there. You have the rich people and their problems, then you have the police force, and then you have this core small kind of group of rebels that are also in play, and you get kind of love interests, not really, they come and they go, and you get the full context with lots of backstory that develops over the season, which was integrated really well. Kind of getting tired of seeing a lot of backstories and like, showcases from a previous time, but it worked very well here, and I was pleased with that because it kind of tied the whole narrative together as far as coming back and being around for hundreds of years. It was very interesting. So you get to see VR in application, you get to see beautiful cityscapes, a complex story, lots of action, intense combat, and it was all very interesting. I particularly love the setting, so that's something that was a benefit for me. And definitely a very interesting series that was compelling and easy to watch, while also engaging. And it was another one of those Netflix original series where it's like, I felt that it perfectly nailed how much time it used. It told a self-contained story. It was wide in scope and large with the quantity of the cast, and you got to see everybody have some level of growth. I also want to say the AI hotel guy was fantastic. I absolutely loved his character in the show. He is really quite something. That whole aspect was interesting because you get that meld of AI and the regular people, and it's just this really intense cyberpunk future, and I love that kind of setting. Feels very Blade Runner-esque, if that makes sense, just with the general kind of idea of it. But it's very different from Blade Runner. Don't think it's even close to the same. It just kind of has that feeling of like kind of going through, but it's a lot more well-paced and action-packed for those that find Blade Runner too slow, despite that being a Blade Runner 2049 being a beautiful film. Whatever the case is, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. And you can read my full review in the description below. It's not perfect at all the times, but I definitely absolutely loved it, and I thought it was a very enjoyable show to watch.